Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be heading over to Best Buy Landscape and Supply to pick up, or to order, I should say, our mulch and our compost for this season. One of the questions that we constantly get asked throughout the season, especially in the summertime, is what compost do we use and what mulch do we use? And I want to bring you guys to the place where we order everything. That way you can see things up close and personal. Now, over the years, we've been ordering our compost from Best Buy. And let me tell you what, I attribute to the success of our garden, a lot of it anyway, to the compost that we order from them. Because when we bought this house, it was rock hard clay. It was so difficult to dig into the soil. You guys, I remember planting trees and it was just such a workout to just dig and dig and dig. It just felt like we needed hammers to break into the soil. It was so compact. So we started to bring in compost as our mulch. And through the last, I would say, 3 years, it has completely transformed the overall structure of our soil. And so I want to bring you guys behind the scenes and show you exactly what we order, especially if you're struggling in your garden with the same thing. Hopefully this is going to be really insightful for you guys. And we've developed a really great relationship over the years with the company. So they're going to give us kind of a behind the scenes of everything. They do have some special blends just for them. So we're going to be able to ask them some questions about that. And it's a family owned business, which I love. So I'm just really excited to bring you guys along. And while we're there, I also want to look for stones for our new pathway in the side garden. So we're going to head over there and just walk around and show you guys everything. All right, guys, we are here at Best Buy Landscape Supply. No, Best Buy in Town Landscape Supply. We're here with Joel.
Hello, YouTube.
Yeah, Joel, what's your title again?
Director of being Vice President of Best Buy in Town Landscape Supply Incorporated.
There we go.
Yeah.
Family-owned business. This is second generation. You're going to meet third
right.
generation here in a little bit because he wants to come say hi to you guys. But we are going to walk around the yard and look at some of the products that you guys have. I want to highlight some of my favorites. I want to show you guys the Amazing Mix, which is a proprietary mix for you guys specifically, right?
It is, yeah, custom blend. Nobody else knows.
Nobody else knows. Can I have it?
We'll talk dollars later.
Okay, we'll talk dollars later. Okay. So we're going to show you some of the ingredients. Of course, I'm going to link everything down for you guys in the description box, but I want you to see how everything looks in person because it makes such a big difference versus me just talking about it and you actually see the beauty. I mean, we're going to talk about mulch, we're going to talk about poo in the compost, we're going to talk about soil that we use in our garden beds, and then some things in between. Sound good?
Let's go talk poo.
Let's go talk poo. So the cool thing about this place, again, it's a family-owned business. And how long have you guys been here?
Since 1984.
Since
I was
1984.
-5 years old when we founded it. Yeah.
Wow. So it's cool because we just talked to Tim, his dad, the owner, and who created this beautiful place. And just to hear the story from how he started with a truck and a shovel and picking up cow manure from a local dairy place here in Oregon called Alpenrose to now having this massive business. That's just really exciting to me. I love hearing stories like that because oftentimes you don't get to connect the product to the people. And I love connecting product and people and understanding how it all started.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anyways, just a fun little fact. Okay, Joel, can you kind of walk us through what is in here? Do we have the Amazing Mix in here or what's in this pile?
Yeah, I'll try to get something we can pull out. So they look very similar at a distance. Mm-hmm. What you're really looking for that's going to stand out the most visually with the Amazing Mix is a higher pumice content.
Okay.
And that's the little white rock. It's actually, it's a little volcanic rock.
Right.
That's going to help kind of break up the soil and let the water come through.
A little bit better.
Roots. Yeah.
Okay.
So proprietary blend. You can see, if you look closely, the little white rock here. Mm-hmm. It's a subtle thing. It's extremely expensive. It's a costly material. Mm-hmm. We go extra on that with the Amazing Mix, even above and beyond with our Super Grow blend that was our best blend for about 20 years. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is that we get a lot of rain, but it does no good to the plants if it's a hard clay. Okay. So that's allowing the water to kind of get down deep enough into the root system so that the plants actually grow. And that's just one of 12 ingredients in the Amazing Mix. a baker's dozen, as it were.
Dozen.
Actually, that's not a baker's. It's a regular dozen.
It's a baker's dozen too.
Regular
right?
dozen.
Yeah.
Minus,
I'm not a baker, so I don't know.
Neither.
You could fool me. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's all of it. So 12 ingredients.
Okay.
Pumice is just one of them.
Okay.
Each one serves a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
The percentages are proprietary. Again, we'll talk dollars later.
Okay.
We'll figure that part out.
If I ever figure it out, I'm going to sell it. I'm kidding.
But it does even have worm poo.
Oh,
it's called worm casting. So,
I mean, if you guys know anything about like composting, that is one of the key ingredients in a good compost mix is worm casting.
Absolutely.
And you guys put quite a bit of that in here. And it's funny because I was just talking to his dad and showing him our cut flower garden. And he asked, where do you grow them in? And I'm like, in your amazing mix, obviously. And so it was like a little subtle, brag there. But is there also chicken manure in this?
Yeah, so it has manure, it has gypsum, alfalfa. I can go down the line. There are numerous ingredients with secret percentages.
Okay. And that's what makes it secret. We actually do have all of the ingredients. I'm going to pop it up on the screen for you guys so you know exactly what's in it. Yeah. But it is those key ingredients that you're looking for that makes a good compost. Yeah. You want the casting. A lot of them also have chicken manure. Some of them have mushroom. I don't know if this one has mushroom.
We have a power mulch.
That's right.
As well as a premium garden compost.
Okay.
And that's kind of the best here in the area. It's a premium grind. It's aged appropriately in great facilities.
Okay.
And that actually is part of our Go Green movement, where we take yard debris for recycling, and then we get it recycled, and it turns into an excellent product that grows more plants that are then recycled.
Okay, and we're going to show you that. So that is what we use in our garden as the mulch, because for years people have asked us, what do you use in your garden as mulch? And it's not mulch, it's that garden compost. And that's what really built up our soil to get it to where it's now, because when we bought the house, I wish I would have had I wish I would have shown you guys our garden before, because it was just straight compacted clay. And clay does have nutrients in it, but you have to have something that helps break it up so your plants can access the nutrients. And that's why when we started bringing in the compost, it was like I just threw fairy dust everywhere. It was a game, exactly just like that. It was a game changer. And ever since then, it's like everything I plant in our garden, I pair that with a little bit of biotone and everything just grows beautifully. So amazing mix. Again, that is what we have in our raised beds. I have third generation. There's the camera over there.
Hi.
This is EJ. Or do you want to introduce yourself? What's your name?
Hi, this is EJ.
This is EJ. And what do you do here?
Solve work problems.
He solves work problems, and you work with Dad and Grandpa?
Yeah.
Cool. What's your favorite part about this job?
That I get to solve work problems.
Oh.
And jump on things.
Oh, and jump on things. Can you show us the dark hemlock mulch that we like to put in our garden? Can you show us that on your big tractor?
What mulch?
You're gonna go with Grandpa and show. Oh, he's okay. That's EJ, third generation. He's gonna show us the mulch that we love for our garden. Or before we talk about the compost, this is proper mulch, and this is what we hope to get in our garden this year, because we have been using compost for the last 3 years, and I feel like we're at a good state. That now I just want to top dress everything. Yeah. And you have a few different kinds. And me personally, you guys know I'm always going to be honest with you. I am not a fan of the red brown. I just don't like it. I don't know why. I think it has a place and a time, just not in my garden. I like the dark stuff, the darker the better. Yeah. So can you talk a little, is this the dark one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, can you talk to us about this and what it is?
There's essentially two broad categories of bark.
Okay.
There's a fir bark, from fir trees, and a hemlock bark. Okay. Basically, they come in different cuts and colors. The colors that we have are all natural. We don't use any dyes. It's so essentially to get to a darker color, it's just an aging process. Okay. And that's what you guys have here. Correct. And this doesn't fade like some of the other stuff does. We have tried, don't tell. We did try another company one time. Yeah, and we did not,
it just didn't keep its color for very long.
Sounds
And
about
that's the
right.
thing. If we're gonna invest in something good, I want it to last for a long time. And this is the only mulch that when we have used it, stayed very beautiful and dark. And I want to show you guys an up close, but before I have to show you EJ and his grandpa and one of the little loaders here, because this is just the cutest thing. So we're gonna let them show us how they load these into trucks or your trailers. So as you can see, this is where they just picked it up and fluffed it up. And I'm gonna bring it close to you guys so you can see how beautiful that is. It's just so nice. And it's not very like barky. There's not a lot of slivers in it. Like you don't get slivers. Is it slivers?
You're exactly right. Yeah, so that's one of the differentiators between what we were talking about before. There's the fir bark and the hemlock as the two categories. The fir is the kind of bark dust that if you just look at it sideways, you have a splinter right in the middle of your hand.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a voodoo doll of bark dust. It's just like right in there.
Yeah.
Hemlock is what we call sliverless. Instead of being sliver full, you could still get a little bit, but for the most part, it's sliver free.
Okay.
So it's way more kid and pet friendly.
Okay.
And you know, with a lot of the darker colors is what our customers are really interested in, is why we carry this extra dark, shade darker than anybody else in Oregon.
The thing I love about this is when you put it in your garden, it's like that last bit of beauty. It makes everything pop in your garden. When things look a little bit dull, like if you come to our garden right now, you're gonna say, wow, like your plants are nice, but what's going on underneath them? So when we bring this in, and you guys will see it this year when we lay this down, it's going to just completely transform your garden. It's almost like when you want to do an update in your house, what do? You do a fresh coat of paint. This is like the same thing. It completely like changes everything. So when we bring this in, not only is it going to serve as mulch, it's also going to help with weed suppression, moisture retention, all of that good stuff. But and then you have the aesthetic of it. It's so pretty. And again, it just makes everything pop. And if you look at it, here it is fluffed up. Here up here is where you see it a little bit more compact. And then at the top, that's what it looks like dry. Now, when you compare that to some of the other stuff that you see on the market, I'm sorry, it just doesn't look that good. And this looks that good for quite a bit of time, which is really nice. And again, we just want to come in every year. We do a thin layer, depending on like how much our soil has settled. We will do a nice layer to also cover our irrigation, because everything, when it starts to settle, all of our tubing and everything like that starts to pop up. So it's just, again, one of those things that completely transforms our gardens and gets you guys excited about when you see it. Like, what is that? It's usually this or it's the compost, but this year it's going to be the hemlock.
Compost is gonna do more of a kind of blending in over time. The hemlock is more of like a top layer where it's sealing it, which is exactly to your point, as holding in the moisture. Which is helpful, especially if you're going to take the time to build a beautiful garden. You know, you got to keep the moisture in there so the plants grow. And also it gives it that top finish where it is like a fresh layer of paint. You know, a lot of real estate agents, this is the cheap, quick go-to to sell a house for 10 times more is get some of our hemlock blown in. And it's just there in 1 hour and it's done.
And it's done. So that is another thing.
Blown in.
Yes.
You can come pick it up if you have a little space. You can have them deliver if you want to get, you know, down
if you want to do the wheelbarrow, which we've done many years.
If you have a lot or tight spaces, they will come here
and blow
to
it
your
for you.
place and blow it.
Which is really fun, which is what we're hoping to do this year in our back garden, because now we have planted things so densely, because you know I love my trees, that it's hard to get through even with the wheelbarrow. And so that was one conversation Sergey and I were having a few months back, like how are we going to get around things, because we planted even more last year. And so we're like, what are we doing? Like, we can't just bring bag mulch, because the bag stuff is never good.
Boo.
Yeah, boo,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's dumb.
So, and which we've tried like the dark, dark bark that you get like at big box stores, and it just never looks good. It like fades after a few months. But this can be blown in our backyard. So, like, why not do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Convenience wise.
It is convenient.
Nothing better.
And I'd rather
Yeah.
be planting than spreading mulch. Let's be real.
Of course. Yeah.
Like I love a good hard day of, you know, doing things, but when it comes to moving a whole unit, which is how many yards are in a unit?
7.5.
7.5,
cubic yards.
which is what we usually get for our garden every year, at least for like half of it. That's a lot of stuff to move. So yeah, we're gonna get it blown this year, and I'm so excited about it.
What was the largest purchase of units you had from
yeah.
like a regular resident?
But yeah, residential.
Just a homeowner? That's
Yeah.
a really good question. I mean, large purchases, we've had whole HOAs before.
Okay.
As far as a homeowner,
Yeah.
I would say probably in like maybe a 6 to 8 unit total.
Wow.
I mean, not that that's common, but it's definitely, I'd say 2 units is a fairly average.
Okay.
1 is the minimum, and 3, 4 is not out of the ordinary at all. Probably in that 6, 7, 8 at the highest.
I want to see that person's garden.
No kidding.
Yeah. Hey, can we come see your garden? That is impressive. So anyways, so if you're not going to go with the dark hemlock, these are some of the other options. So can you walk us through, because these 3 are different, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So you're looking at a red hemlock and a red fir.
Okay.
There is a smaller percentage of homeowners that prefer the red.
Okay.
And that, for the most part, it's actually seen more in the real estate side.
Right.
Because it is fresh bark. It looks like it was just put down, and it has a little bit more of that brand new look.
Right.
That in some ways is helpful on that, in that regard. But for the most part, I would say the preference is darker the better to, you know, your favorite and what we're going to be blowing in for you this time.
Yeah.
It's the extra dark is, you know, it's the extra cool one.
Okay.
But the red, a little bit fresher.
A little bit fresher.
That's kind of the main selling point.
And do the red usually hold up their color too? Because we've never had the red in our garden, but we do see it in commercial settings a lot too. And big like residential neighborhoods, like you mentioned, HOAs, they typically have this. So does this, I mean, if you like this color, will this last as long as well?
They generally tend to last about the same length of time.
Okay.
You know, the recommendation is you're just kind of adding a small top layer each year.
Okay.
So once you get it in place, you're just getting that top layer done again. So it's similar to the paint analogy.
Okay.
You paint it well one time in multiple layers. And then each year you just want to freshen it up, just a little layer on top.
Okay.
And it looks brand new.
Right.
So same idea with bark.
And that is a good point, because it's not just a one and done, but you also don't need to go overboard and do like 5 inches of it, right?
Right. Unless you want to. No one's going to stop you at Best Buy in Town Incorporated.
We'll let you buy whatever you want, okay?
That's right.
But typically, what do you guys recommend? Like if I'm somebody, I'm a homeowner, I don't know anything about gardening. I say, hey, I want to freshen things up. How much mulch do I need in my garden?
So we'll do all the math for you before you even ask on the phone. You can also do it on our website.
Ooh, okay.
It's basically, we'll try to get to square footage and coverage. So depending on how you're getting it if you're getting it with the truck or trailer, we can load you on site. It's a real quick, almost a drive-through scenario. You're stopping in the office, check you out. We've got a radio, and we have a 15-year loader and a 30-year loader. 15 here, 30 there. And we will tell them what to grab, and they'll bring it right to your truck.
Nice.
You're in and out.
Okay. And do you usually like recommend a couple of inches?
It's generally about 2 to 3 inches is pretty standard, depending on what you're doing. You know, it's a different recommendation for like a play structure if you're doing cedar chips There's fall zone recommendations that are kind of differentiated even within the play structure recommendations.
Okay.
And more specifically, there's engineered chips if you're getting really particular, and some of the districts have that spec.
Okay.
But with regular bark for homeowners, it's more of the, do we want slivers or not? I usually recommend not a fan of them.
Not a fan.
Also 2 to 3 inches and about a 10-foot long by 10-foot wide area. This is not 10 feet, I'm aware. This is more like 12 feet. 2 to 3 inches deep is 1 cubic yard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's very helpful. I think that like clicked for me just now, because I'm always like, how much do I need if this is the size of my garden? You guys usually do the math for me, but I'm always like, I want to know too. So yes, that's very helpful. We have low spots in our garden where we've had to really add in a ton more compost to kind of like figure that out as well.
Yeah, that's tricky.
Yeah.
The slopes and the gradations matter a lot.
Okay.
And we see that a lot, I guess more particularly with the bark blowing. Because even with that, there's variation in the sense that it's coming out of the hose at a high velocity. So it's kind of packing and condensing a little bit more than something that you would hand spread.
Okay.
And there's all these specific things that you would never think about, and even I barely think about, but we try to talk about these things well before we get there.
Okay.
And we'll do sub calculations.
Okay.
Where if you have one area of your yard and you give us, even step it off, say this one's 10 by 15, but there's a real divot in it. We probably want to cover about an 8-inch spread to get it up to level. And this one, we just want a couple inches. We'll multiply, we'll add up, we'll divide, we'll put it into a fraction table, and then we'll flip it around and we'll give you an exact amount you need, and we'll get you on the schedule and get it in within a week or so.
Perfect. We love that. We love an easy, breezy situation. Okay, so these two are red, and then this is just your regular hemlock?
Yeah, this is the most common.
Okay.
We call this the brown hemlock.
Brown hemlock.
This is a slightly lower cost than that unique proprietary extra dark.
Okay.
But overall, best value brown sliverless, not sliver free bark.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. You do have those two options, but I want to see if I'm going to take a picture for you guys so you can see the difference between the dark and then the brown, because it is pretty darn drastic. I want to go show you now the compost that we use in our garden as mulch that has really built up our soil health over the last 3 years. We thought about adding a little bit of sand, and I don't know if this is something that you guys recommend.
Yeah.
I've been doing a little bit of reading, because dahlias also actually like growing in that environment, because every farm that I've gone to, I pick up their soil and it's like so sandy. And I'm like, oh, so is this something that I need to add into our beds?
That's a great question.
Okay.
So if you did not use our Amazing Mix TM, then you may.
Okay.
But if you're using the Amazing Mix, it's already integrated into one of the 12 ingredients, and that's that premium sandy loam that you were highlighting earlier.
Okay.
That sand is a big part of just that one of 12 ingredients.
Okay.
So it absolutely doesn't hurt. There's a purpose for it.
Right.
But the beauty of our Amazing Mix is it's amazing and it's already mixed. So you don't have to do any amazing remixes.
So if somebody doesn't have an amazing soil,
yes.
And they have to do an amazing remix,
which
sand product would they have?
Yeah. So our Mason sand is going to be the cleanest sand that we would recommend for that. We have like concrete sands that are more for paver bases.
Sure.
But as far as something that, especially if you're going to be planting anything edible, I would stick with the cleanest one.
The cleanest one.
Sand.
So if somebody isn't local and they can't order here, you would recommend them to find like a clean source of sand to like incorporate into their beds. And would they mix that in with compost?
Yeah, it's kind of if you're trying to recreate on some level, a basic level, it's a garden compost, a Mason sand. You're going to want some kind of native loam, which is what that premium sandy loam is. It's the loam with the sand. If you're getting those three together, that's essentially the most basic soil blend. We call it a 3-way blend in the industry.
Oh.
And our most basic is a 4-way, because why not?
Okay.
But that's kind of the most basic soil starting point.
Okay, so that's good to know. If you guys aren't local and you can't order from these amazing people, you can go. Yeah, darn.
Yeah.
Move to Oregon,
That's
move
right.
close to me. I love to have you here. You can go to your guys' local yards and find out if they even have that mix, or you might find somebody that can mix it for you, or you bring in 3 separate products and then you mix it into your beds. There's so many ways to do it. And it's one of those things that it's an investment, but I think it's worth it because you're not going to have to do a ton to your soil for years and years and years to come. So that's always really nice. So that's just something to consider. And again, I like ordering in bulk just because it's more economical versus just buying a bunch of bag things. It is more convenient. It can be when you're buying bag mixes. But at the same time, if you can get something delivered to your house, especially if you have a big area, then, you know, this is the way to go. But if you have a small garden, you can go out and buy the ingredients yourself. Buy a good bag compost, some sandy loam, and then a good clean source of mason sand. Mix that up, and there you go, your own custom 3-way mix. Now we don't even have to order. We're just gonna make our own. I'm kidding. Okay, so let's check out the compost. Look at this.
Go ahead. Careful.
So this is exactly what we have in our garden right now that you guys are always asking about. Look at how beautiful and dark that is.
You can see why we like it as mulch.
Yeah, so this is what we use as mulch currently.
This could be something if you did not already use a blend that has everything in it, which this is one of the 12 ingredients in the Amazing Mix.
Oh, okay.
It's a good thing to add some nutrients to an existing soil. And so usually if you're starting a new project, we always recommend let's not mess with the Amazing Mix. Let's just get something that we know is going to work right away without any help in. But if you have something in place, you're just trying to augment, this is a really good option, and this is the most cost-effective thing that you could do.
Okay.
Where you're adding some nitrogen, and yeah, it looks great too.
It does look great.
Yeah.
And what is this called again? I always forget. The garden.
We call it the premium garden compost.
Yeah, the garden compost. So that's what we always talk about in the video. And I'll also list the ingredients in this, but this also holds up its color so well, like better than like so many, you know, actual mulch. So this is my go-to. And when we're going to be planting up the side garden, because we haven't planted anything there ever, that's going to be like a brand new space. This is what we're going to be using for the next couple of years, only this product, because that is going to do the same thing that it's done to the rest of our garden. And it's really built up that soil to where it's just full of nutrients and, you know, makes our plants access our native soil a little bit better with the help of this. And it breaks down over time. It's just the best. Like, I just want to jump in it right now.
I'm going to, actually.
Okay.
I was just thinking that, and I want to. This is actually a perfect weird example on accident. So this is this.
Oh, okay.
I did not plan this, I swear.
Yeah.
Just good luck. But this floated over from our yard debris recycling pile all the way over there and landed right on top of this to illustrate that we're actually not only taking your branches and grass trimmings and whatnot that you really need to get rid of, but also that it's being composted, it's being recycled into a very useful product that is helping our environment. It's allowing us to be doing cool gardening projects like you are and teaching other people about it. And it also looks fantastic. And it all started with this little twig that you needed to get rid of from your yard.
And that is the cool thing about this place too, is it's like a one-stop shop. You come in, you have a bunch of yard debris that you can't get rid of because your bin is full. I don't know if you have that problem. I constantly have that problem. I'm usually the one walking around the neighborhood. It's like, hey, is your bin full? Because I need it. And if it is, then we usually drop things off over here, but they have a really great recycling material or program where they take all of our yard debris and it goes back to somewhere where it gets composted and it makes its way back over here to this beautiful gold mine right over here. So Sergey had a really good question. We're just quickly talking about how they take, you know, clippings from different landscapers and different gardeners. But what if people bring in things that was diseased or had pests or, I don't know, I mean, any, you know, sort of viruses that some plants get. We try to be good about, you know, discarding things into the garbage if we know it's diseased or has something weird. Like if you think about roses and black spot, right? If it has black spots, we try to just put it in the garbage. But how do you guys handle that if people are bringing in products that might have had an issue.
It's a
How do you
great
deal with
question. Yeah, I think, first of all, we literally will go look at every single load.
that?
It's something that we train from the very beginning at the most basic level, that we put our eyes on every single load. We don't just take someone's word for what's in there.
Yeah.
We'll go look at it and we'll get our hands in there if we need to.
Yeah.
We have eyes on the pile with radios where we have protocols. So if they see anything that's not supposed to be there, they're radioing in, and I'll personally run up there mid-recycle and talk to a customer about what was put in the middle of the pile and make sure that that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
We handpick trash. We do all this stuff. There is an element of that you can't always see with your eyeball. And with that, you know, we don't have a composting facility here. We haul it out to places that have extreme oversight and protocol that we know it's multi-million-dollar projects just to upgrade the tech and the machinery and the oversight to make the compost.
Right.
And it's so spec'd out that the government agencies are doing checklists on it.
Oh.
There's heating processes that are a big part of killing off viruses. So it has to get to certain temperatures. It has to age a certain amount of time after it goes through the grinder. And every single element of that is dissected down to a science. So by the time we get it, we already know that it is a premium garden compost. We don't have to worry about any of that stuff. But those are all fantastic questions. And you know, it's something most people don't even think about, but it's very thorough and careful.
Yeah.
And even on that end, we're so well regarded as being the most thorough and careful as a recycle center that I've personally directed the Japanese beetle eradication project for the Oregon Department of Agriculture.
Yeah, I remember we talking about that, and I thought that was so cool because a lot of people have issues with those beetles in their garden.
Yeah.
And you like spearheaded that whole thing.
That was just a little side thing with our normal ERW program that it was 2 or 3 years that we were the place where everybody from the Bethany area primarily, where they set all these traps, directed to only recycle here because they had so much trust in me and the training of our whole staff that we were going to catch every little thing and note it and have everything separated perfectly. And we were getting applauded, you know, in the public meetings afterwards for what an amazing job we did handling that. So it just takes a lot of care, and that's something we take a lot of pride in.
Yeah, it is because I remember, I don't know if I was offended, but I remember when I dropped off, we brought in a load a couple years ago, and I came into the office and I said, hey, we're dropping off, and then we go to the scale. They weigh your car and you know what you have, and then you dump it. And then somebody came out, like, okay, well, hold on, we have to check. And I was like, I know what I'm dropping off. It's just like branches and leaves. But he was like looking through to make sure, like, okay, so I'm happy I'm not singled out because I thought that was just me. They're like, this girl.
I remember that.
Do you remember that? And I was like, they want to check what I'm bringing. Like, what would I bring that's bad? And he was like, is there anything wrong with this product? And I was like, no, it was just a tree that we removed. But I remember being so like, why are like, hey, like, why are you picking on me? But now it's good that like, I know it's like, it's just one of your checks and balances. So that makes me feel good because sometimes you don't know where your products are coming from. And to know that it goes through this rigorous process, that makes me happy.
Kind of like the TSA of yard debris, per se.
We love a good TSA moment.
That's right.
All right, so now that we're done talking about mulch and compost and all the good stuff, I also came in specifically because I want to start thinking about the material that we're going to be using for our side garden. So I might just have you guys come over, you and your dad, because that'd be really fun. Yeah. But we're starting a whole new side garden project that we've kind of been planning for a while, and we're like, okay, we're almost there to get it going. We're going to be doing a, what are we installing? A French drain. That's right. We're going to install a French drain first.
And get the river rock for that.
Yeah.
Inch and a half to 3/4 right on the other side.
Yep. We're going to get river rock here for that. And we're also going to be updating our riverbed in the back with some of their rocks because you guys will see that project too.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking for our pathway, it's going to start at the beginning of our gate. It might go out to the front garden. I'm not sure yet, but it's going to come down through the back and it's kind of going to weave through and fork off into the shed and then into the garden. So what I was thinking is flagstone, and you guys have several varieties. Out of these, I mean, I'm sure they're all durable.
Yeah.
But the color is what I see as the differentiation between these. Is there a difference as far as like durability in these guys? Or
great question. The durability aspect is primarily has to do with the thickness of the flagstone.
Okay.
The thinner it is, the more likely it is to crack.
Okay.
The thicker, the more durable.
Okay.
For the most part, it's the color that people are looking at.
Okay.
It's a premium product, so if they like a certain color and it makes the yard pop, that's kind of
that's what we want. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm thinking something more on the blue side. So it'd probably be this over here, right? I would think.
There are a few options. You're gonna get some blues and greens. You're also getting part of this Iron Hills aspect is you're getting a little bit of that iron color.
Okay.
So sometimes that you get a little bit of a 3-color blend.
So this is what I was thinking, because I like the 3-way color. I don't know. I have like two flavors of this. I'm either going to go something like super light like this, which I would probably go with a different variety of rock, or I want something to really be on the blue side like this. I'm just trying to think, because we are going to be planting it heavily on both sides with lots of trees and really beautiful light colored flowers. It's just going to be very diverse plant material on both sides, but I also want it to be durable because we are going to be using it to bring in the wheelbarrow sometimes, or Sergey's lawnmower is going to go through it. So I do want to go with the thicker material. I'd love to get your guys' opinion. Again, I kind of am leaning towards the blue.
Yeah.
Some days I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe I kind of like this, this kind of a rusty look to it. But I just think this is so classic. You know what I mean? Do you guys have other materials that you recommend other than flagstone?
Yeah. If the natural rock patio is not your cup of tea,
sure.
We do have concrete pavers, and we have so many flavors.
Okay.
Baskin Robbins is jealous. There's multiple scoop sizes, multiple flavors.
Okay.
And there's patterns and variations.
Okay.
Where you can have an outline of small pavers in one color. A very popular one is through Western Interlock. It's called a Holland Stone. And people really love to do a dark gray charcoal outline.
Okay.
And then the color within and the variations are endless. But that dark gray outline, just a border, can really make the whole patio pop.
Okay.
And there are countless variations.
Okay.
We're kind of the #1 distributor for everything that Western Interlock sells, as far as different paver patio options.
Okay. Yeah. And do you think, so I could do a good pathway with that. It would just be more structured, like where this is a little bit more free-flowing, which is kind of the vibe I want. But I mean, I love a good, like nice pathway, kind of like a pretty pattern. That would be pretty. Is this more expensive than the pavers?
In general, the natural flagstone is going to cost a bit more. That's one of the advantages. There's also a lot of variation. Being a natural rock, which is part of the beauty and the challenge. Okay. From pallet to pallet, as it comes from the quarry, it's not always exactly the same. Okay. With a paver, you know what it is every time, and it's the same. Okay. So that's kind of the trade-off.
Okay, got it. Well, then I have a lot to think about. I really thought coming in here, I was like, okay, I know what I want. And then I saw some of the other ones and I'm like, well, maybe I don't know what I want. They do have some really great catalogs with different examples of like paths and patios. We really just want it for the path. So I'm gonna take a look at that. Again, would love your guys' idea. Again, I'm leaning on the blue side. If you guys have these types of stones in your garden, let me know how they've aged over the years. But either way, I'm very excited to pick something. I've just been waiting for this moment for a very long time. So I'm so excited. So anyways, I think that will wrap it up for today's video. I'm going to make sure to link everything down in the description box for you guys. If you have any more questions, you can bother Joel anytime.
Please do.
24/7, 7 days a week. Call him.
8 days.
8 days. He found an 8th day. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to the company. They're great folks. I don't really promote a lot of people. You guys know if I really love something, I'm going to talk about it. This is something I really love. And you guys always ask about our mulch and our compost. So we're going to put in our order right now for the hemlock, the dark hemlock mulch. And then we're gonna wait until we finish moving some plants and doing our French drain, and then we're gonna come back and put in a big order for the compost as well. So thank you again for hanging out with us.
Absolutely.
On
Thanks
a Sunday.
for coming through.
Yes, this was so fun. We got the whole yard to ourselves because I knew we couldn't do this during business hours.
No,
It's wild busy over here. But anyways, again, I'll link everything down below. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Good job. That was fun.
Nice.
That was awesome.